Do you guys hear that? If you listen really carefully, you can hear the mating call of a wild flamingo. And today we're talking about listening and how important it is, and mostly listening in the work world, but listening in all relationships really. So the first question is why? Why does it matter that we listen to somebody else? And I think first of all, it's a break from ourselves. You know, normally when we think about our lives, it's really all about us. It's like a movie and we're the main character. And all of my, conversations, lots of them anyway, revolve around me and what do I think? What should I wear today? And what should I eat? And what did they say to me? And what do I think of that? And it's all about me on center stage as this main character in my life. And listening allows me to step aside and let somebody else be the main character. And it's kind of a break sometimes, and it feels good. But it's also, it develops return customers, return relationships. Again, at work, but also, at home in any relationship. Listening well creates return loyal relationships or loyal customers. So I want to share some tips with you today about listening better, and then we'll talk about them at some point in the course. I want to have an interview with you and ask you some thoughts about listening, and you can share some of your own thoughts, but also some thoughts from this video as well. So in order to listen better, one thing we can do is tune out physical noise. You could be having a conversation in a room and you need to, ignore the music or ignore other conversations that are happening, or maybe construction that's going on. So you got to tune out the physical noise, but also the mental noise. Mental noise is you, while you're talking with somebody, judging them and looking at them and thinking things about them. And yourself as well. You can have this mental conversation about yourself. Do I look okay? Are my ankles too big? Or whatever you're thinking about yourself while you're trying to have a conversation. You've got to tune out that mental noise, that mental conversation, if you want to listen better. And any non-essential information. Sometimes when you're having a conversation with people, some things just are more important than other things. So forget the non-essential stuff and try to actually say, oh, that's important. Remember that piece. And so you're tuning into the essential parts and ignoring the non-essential parts. Another one is to write things down, especially if it's a long conversation and an important conversation. It shows you're listening if you can write down the important pieces. And also, you've heard it said before, don't interrupt somebody. That's true, but we want to take it a step further. Instead of interrupting, you want to listen all the way through. A lot of times when you're talking to somebody, you're thinking of your response while they're still talking. We want to stop that. Try to listen all the way through. In fact, your brain can't do two things at once. It can't multitask. It can't listen and think up a response at the same time. I can prove it to you if you want. All you got to do is pause this video and search on Google for any topic. Pick any animal you want or any planet and go to Wikipedia if you want. There's always a couple paragraphs information about almost any topic. Just choose a bear, an Alaskan brown bear. Type it into Google. Get Wikipedia ready. You're gonna open up that article and you're gonna try and read in your head one paragraph or two paragraphs from that article. But at the same time you're reading, just say something out loud, like some poem that you know, or even the ABCs, A, B, C, D. That's very, very basic. Try and read one paragraph while you're saying something out loud. And then when you're, just try and get through one paragraph and then ask yourself how much you remember. You probably won't remember very much because your brain really can't do those two things at once. So listen all the way through. Something else to keep in mind, especially if you want to be a good listener, is to understand that you don't always have to be right. A lot of times in conversations we want to interject and share our thoughts and our opinions about things, especially if we're disagreeing with somebody or in some kind of a conflict. But it's true that you don't always have to do that, and in fact you don't always have to be right, even when you think that you are right. So maybe a customer is bringing something to your store and there's a return policy and they're violating that return policy. You don't have to be right in that situation. You could give them a return, for example, even though they're wrong and they might not deserve it, but you could do it. And so, understanding I don't always have to be right. And in fact, there's a wrong way to be right as well. So you let them be right, and you understand that they're going to win in this situation or in this argument, but you don't let them feel that win. You don't let them feel good about it. You say something like, "Oh, sure, no, you're right. Yeah, let's just do it your way, whatever you want." They're right, but you're not letting them feel good about it. So also along these lines, letting somebody be right, letting them feel the win, feel good about it. You can also repeat what they are saying. It's a beautiful strategy to prove that you are listening and listening well. Repeat what they're saying, repeat their point, and ask them if you've got it right. And if you do, and they agree that you're listening and you've got it right, you've understood them correctly, it really develops a bond in that relationship, a kind of a trust, but also shows that you're listening really well. So those are the listening strategies I have for you. And not all those listening strategies are easy, especially letting somebody else win, let somebody else be right. Now, obviously, if they're in danger and you need to be right, or they're going to blow some big deal, it's time for you to be right. That's fine. But some of them are more difficult to do. But I think if you can do those things, it really develops some good, trusting, loyal relationships. So looking forward to having an interview with you where we can talk about this a little bit more. But thanks for listening.